Hi there crafters, Louise with you today. Thanks for popping into this channel. This is one of my 3 old 3 new stash busting videos. So on the old side we've got chipboard, a Charms Creation star and some thread. And on the new side we've got a Simple Stories 12x12 collection, a packet of foam thicker titles and this stamp set that I absolutely had to have and have not used or even opened. So let's go ahead and get creative. I have chosen a picture of my son receiving an award at school and I'm going to create this on a 9x12 background. So lately I have been doing a lot of single photo layouts on that 9x12 because it just feels to me like it's a little bit less space wasted as such. I sometimes feel like a 12x12 with a single photo can feel a little bit like I haven't created enough, and I do actually like the challenge of a 9x12 layout. I think that the shape, because it's more rectangular and not square, it can, in my case, get my brain to create in a slightly different way to how I normally would. Alright, so the colour that I'm focusing on is mainly the greens or the teals or those aqua colours. You can see that this collection, this is actually like a pocket scrapping collection, so the papers are all actually pocket pieces, and I actually chose this collection because I loved the little journaling elements. I seem to have a bit of trouble with those journaling elements, and so if I can find a collection that has those, I will snap it up pretty quickly. So although it's made for pocket scrapping, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use it for that particular type of layout. All right, so now that I've cut a few of those pieces out, I'm going to have a little bit of a play around and create my cluster. So if I'm adding mixed media to a background, which I end up doing in this particular page, even though I didn't really have too much thought as to what I was actually going to do, it was more just when I'm creating these 3 old 3 new videos for you, I am kind of just picking some items from my stash, whether they be, you know, what I've got today or something different, and that's what I create with. So no official idea going in, and you can see that I'm working around trying to create these sort of cluster areas in the background with those different pattern papers. So it almost builds as I look at the elements on the page. So it's not so much about, being strictly structured. It's looking at what I have available to me at the time and how I want to create with that. So I simply pick up an item and move it around the page until I'm happy with how it looks. That's basically the best way to describe my scrapbooking process. Now, of course, I am a strong believer in journaling. Now, whether that be just simply you putting the date and the subject onto the layout somewhere. Now, if you don't like your handwriting, feel free to pop it on the back, but I definitely feel like hopefully somebody down the track is going to look at these creations. I like to look at my grandparents' albums and things that they've kept their memories of, and I hope that one day somebody's going to look at mine and want to know actually who the subject of the photo is, what they were doing, even just what year it was. So I like to keep my journaling on the pages, but I have been known to write it on the back as well. So as long as that sort of date and subject is on there, I think that's all you really need. If you want to tell a bigger story, by all means, definitely do that. It's your scrapbook layout, so you absolutely have the choice to do them how you please. Now, because I'm using this chipboard piece, I'm going to just add a little bit of cardboard just for dimension and to help sort of balance that photo out. I just need it to lift up a little bit higher. And you can see that I'm quite happy with how my cluster is looking at the moment. I've got this the little Charms star. If you've never seen these products from Charms Creations, then you should definitely check them out because they are so fun. I love the stars. I love how unique her creations are, and they look great on your page as well. They're great for texture and areas of interest. And in this case, you can see I've just stuck a little title over the top as well. All right. really just moving things around, making sure I'm happy with their positioning before I start to stick things down. Building this cluster is probably the hardest part of the layout. I have a fair idea what I'm going to do after this, but certainly getting the main elements of the layout into their positions so that I know how much mixed media I need to add in the background. So again, choosing the green, so I pull out my watercolor palette and I'm not priming this background in any way. So I'm not using any gessos because I'm just going to add a little bit of watercolor. That's not going to warp the page too much. If you are adding lots of sprays and lots of inks and different stampings and more than one sort of mixed media element, lots of water, I would suggest using a gesso on the back of your page. But all I'm going to do is add these stripes and splatters, nice thick paintbrush, lots of water to give me some splatters, and that's simply going to form the background of this particular cluster. Now, one of my stash items was the package of twine, and I need to make sure that I include that, and I wasn't quite happy, so I'm just going to add a little bit more colour. And the best part about this is that you don't necessarily have to have it looking perfect with watercolour. The overlapping actually gives you some really interesting colour combinations. So you can see I've got some darker green, some lighter green. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, just do whatever suits you. And you can see that some of it gets covered up anyway, so it doesn't have to be completely perfect. Now, the twine part of this particular layout, I'm actually going to simply just wrap it around in a really messy sort of textured element. There's nothing too technical about this. This is, again, stash busting. If you wanted to, you could stitch, but I like the crisscross sort of pattern that you get with this. It's just a little bit that pokes out at the top and the bottom. I just secure mine at the back of the page with a little bit of masking tape just to keep it all in its position. And then you can see we pop that cluster over the top. So super easy background, building a cluster, adding some little pops and areas of interest. So I was a bit naughty and I didn't actually still use that stamp pad, but I'm sure you'll forgive me today because I will get it out and use it in a future video. But that is today's share. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much. If you're not already a subscriber, I would love if you subscribe to my channel. And of course, if you have a comment or a question or something you'd like to see done, please by all means leave me a comment and share that on YouTube. So thanks for watching.